What happens when perfection becomes a prison? When the pursuit of flawlessness begins to chip away at the very person it's meant to uplift? In the glamorous world of reality television and endless spotlights, perfection isn't just an expectation, it's a demand. And for Khloé Kardashian, that demand has become overwhelming. Behind the carefully curated Instagram posts, the sculpted fitness routines, and the dazzling red carpet appearances, something darker has been growing. Kris Jenner, the matriarch of the Kardashian-Jenner empire, has noticed it more than anyone. Her daughter's perfectionism, escalating to the point where she fears Khloé may be battling something deeper, something that requires the intervention of an OCD specialist. The Kardashian-Jenner family has always lived in the public eye, their lives broadcast, dissected, and magnified on screens across the world. Yet for Khloé Kardashian, the pressure has often carried a different weight. Dubbed the strong one, the funny one, or even at times the different one. Khloé's identity has long been shaped in comparison to her sisters. She has publicly endured scrutiny over her appearance, her relationships, and her choices. Over the years, she has built herself up as a resilient figure, one who turns pain into humor, criticism into motivation. But what viewers and fans see as motivation can, behind closed doors, look more like obsession. Kris Jenner has watched her daughter transform through endless cycles of reinvention: her body, her business, her home, even her interactions with fans. And lately, Kris has seen the perfectionism escalate. Every cushion perfectly fluffed, every workout executed with punishing intensity, every detail of Khloé's home and life micromanaged. The more Kris observed, the more she began to worry. Was this discipline and ambition, or was it the creeping grip of obsessive-compulsive disorder? As the cameras rolled for yet another season, Kris Jenner took note of the way Khloé would insist on reorganizing already pristine closets. How she couldn't seem to stop herself from scrubbing countertops that were already spotless. Or the way she became restless, even agitated, if something wasn't exactly aligned to her standards. To the casual viewer, these moments might seem quirky, even relatable. But to a mother who has seen her daughter endure years of relentless pressure, Kris knew it was something else. In a hushed conversation that would later echo across headlines, Kris Jenner urged Khloé Kardashian to see an OCD specialist, not because she wanted to control the narrative of her daughter's life, but because she recognized a dangerous pattern: perfectionism escalating to a point of emotional exhaustion. The woman who once encouraged her daughters to build an empire was now gently reminding one of them that empires can't stand if the foundation begins to crack. For Khloé, this wasn't an easy topic. In her world, admitting to vulnerability feels like handing ammunition to critics. Perfectionism, after all, had been her armor. The countless hours in the gym, the flawless interior design of her home, the meticulous attention to details weren't simply habits, they were shields. Shields against tabloids that called her the ugly sister. Shields against online bullies who questioned her body. Shields against betrayal and heartbreak. But as perfectionism escalated, what once protected her had started to imprison her. The Kardashian household has never shied away from dramatics, but this was different. This wasn't a headline about a new product launch, a glamorous wedding, or a controversial relationship. This was a mother confronting her daughter about something that could not be fixed with branding or spin. Kris Jenner, known to the world as the ultimate momager, became, in this moment, simply a mother concerned, cautious, and deeply human. Khloé's reaction, caught partially in moments the cameras didn't intend to highlight, was complicated. At first, she brushed it off, insisting she just liked things a certain way. Perfection, she said, was part of her DNA. But Kris, firm and persistent, pointed out that perfection shouldn't leave her daughter exhausted, anxious, or unable to rest. Kris didn't frame the suggestion as judgment, but as love, the kind of love that recognizes when someone is silently drowning. As a narrator, observing this dynamic unfold, the tension is palpable. The air in the room feels heavy, as if the bright lights and glossy cameras can't disguise the rawness of the conversation. Khloé, poised as always, seems to wrestle internally with the idea that something she has worn like a badge of honor, her relentless pursuit of excellence, might actually be hurting her. Her eyes dart downward, her voice lowers. There's a silence between them that lingers longer than most would expect in a family used to filling every pause with chatter. And then, softly, Khloé admits, "Maybe you're right." That single moment becomes pivotal. The matriarch urging her daughter toward help, the daughter acknowledging her struggle. It's a rare crack in the polished Kardashian exterior. It's the kind of moment that rarely makes it into glossy magazine spreads, but defines a family's true bond. For Kris Jenner, the decision to encourage Khloé to see an OCD specialist was not about weakness, it was about resilience. She knew that naming the problem was the first step toward reclaiming control, not losing it. The discussion surrounding obsessive-compulsive disorder is often misunderstood. Popular culture reduces it to quirks about neatness or organization. But what Kris saw in Khloé wasn't simply about color-coded closets or sparkling it was about compulsion, the inability to stop, the rising anxiety if rituals weren't performed, the creeping sense that nothing was ever enough. For a woman who already lived in a world where she was constantly told she wasn't enough, this was a dangerous combination. The more the documentary lens lingers, the clearer the story becomes. We see flashbacks of Khloé's public battles, her transformation journeys, her heartbreaks splashed across headlines, her resilience celebrated and critiqued in equal measure. We see her laughing with her sisters, yet behind the laughter, we begin to recognize the tightening jaw, the restless glances, the tiny details she can't ignore. We see Kris watching, the way only a mother can, noticing what others miss. Perfectionism escalating is not just a personal struggle for Khloé Kardashian, it's a universal one, amplified by the unique pressures of her fame. For every person who watches her story, there's a mirror held up to society's own obsession with flawlessness. Social media feeds us curated lives, filtered images, impossible standards. And like Khloé, many of us chase those standards until we're breathless. Kris Jenner's plea to her daughter to seek the guidance of an OCD specialist becomes not just a family moment, but a cultural commentary the narrative swells with emotion as we imagine Khloé stepping into the unfamiliar space of acknowledging she might need help. For someone who has prided herself on control, this step is monumental. Kris's role here is crucial, not as the sharp businesswoman who orchestrates careers, but as the mother who sees the cracks and knows when to intervene. In urging Khloé to seek professional help, Kris demonstrates that strength doesn't mean never asking for assistance. It means knowing when to dot. As the documentary continues, we see how this conversation begins to shift Khloé's world. Therapy sessions, quiet reflections, and the gradual acceptance that she doesn't have to perfect every detail to be worthy. The escalation of perfectionism that once felt unstoppable begins to slow. Not because the pressures disappear, but because Khloé learns to confront them differently. It's a process, one that isn't tied up neatly in an episode or a headline, but one that unfolds in the quiet resilience of everyday choices. And yet, the most dramatic part of this story isn't the struggle itself, it's the love behind it. Kris Jenner urging Khloé Kardashian to see an OCD specialist is not a scandal. It's an act of care. It reminds us that even in families built on spectacle and image, the deepest truths are often found in moments of vulnerability. It reminds us that behind the fame, the wealth, and the perfectly polished brand, there are human beings wrestling with the same battles we all face: fear, anxiety, and the longing to be enough. As the camera pans out, the story lingers. The mother and daughter sitting across from each other, one urging, the other listening. The air heavy with unspoken emotion. The empire around them continues to spin: contracts signed, shows filmed, products launched, but in this moment, everything slows down. Because here, at the center of it all, is a simple truth. Perfection is not the goal. Healing is. And for Khloé Kardashian, guided by the steady insistence of Kris Jenner, that truth may finally be within reach.